How's it going, everybody? So we're out in the shop with another daily vlog, and in this episode we're going to continue the sheath build for the little EDC mini cleaver. So in the last episode we did the sheath for it, so this guy right here. Now we need to get our leather set up so that we can actually wrap it around the sheath. And however that ends up happening, I have an idea about how I want to do this, so we're going to go ahead and try it out, see how it goes, and go from there. But we need to go over to the bench and start kind of planning this out, making a little template for how we're going to cut out the leather, things like that. So let's get over there. Let's get to it. So I've got a few of the things laid out that I'm going to end up needing for this. The primary thing that we need to start off with is making a template for what we're going to actually use to cut out the leather, so we know how we're going to lay it out on here, at least initially. So what I've got to do is get this laid over this and then kind of trace out where I want everything to land and then cut it out initially and then see if we got to modify it from there. So as of right now, I know roughly where I want the leather to end up being, and that is I want it to come around this little area right here, so that it lays inside this little pocket right here. I want it to be recessed. Now, originally I was going to go with a thicker leather, which was this piece right here. This is really thick leather. I was going to go with that, but I think that this thinner one is going to stretch real nicely around there, and this is a really good high quality leather that you would use for like a wallet. So very good stuff here that I'm going to end up using, and I think it's going to look really good on here. So that's what we're going to use, but we need to make that template, and the goal is, like I said, get this on here and then just kind of draw where I think it's going to end up being. So I think that I'm going to need to cut right around here first, and then we should be able to start modifying it from there. So we're roughly where I want it to be, but you can see we still need to make it a little bit. We need to come back just a little bit more on that. Well, if we do it like that, it'll actually wrap up pretty nicely, but I want to bring it to where it's closer to this little area right here. So I'm going to bring it down just a little more. Yep, about like that right there. And then I need to go ahead and cut off the excess on the front. So I'm just going to bend and crease right here so that I know where I need to cut off on that. That way I don't have to really mark it. Okay, that gives us our rough template right there. And if we need to cut it back a little bit, we can. So I'm actually gonna trim that off just a hair. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and lay this onto here so we can go ahead and mark it and cut it out. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this out. About like that right there. Now, one of the things that I'm probably going to need to end up doing is, of course, trimming the front off here where we got a little overhang. So go ahead and trim that off. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to glue this to here, and then we'll end up hole punching where the actual holes are that goes through the Kydex with just a hole punch. So I'm going to glue everything down, clamp it all down, and then we'll come back and we'll shave all of this off with the belt grinder and get all the excess off of there. And then once I get that done, I'm going to do a few more things to it, but I want to go ahead and shave everything back, I want to go ahead and glue it and then shave everything back. So for right now, we need to go ahead and we're just going to be using barge all-purpose cement to glue everything down on this. But one of the things that I'm going to do, because I don't want everything to glue together inside here, is I'm actually going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to open this up and I'm going to lay painter's tape on the inside of this, because I don't want us to accidentally glue the Kydex together. The whole purpose behind doing this is if I accidentally get any of that barge cement to go inside these holes, the tape will stop it from transferring to the other side and accidentally gluing the Kydex sheath together. Because there's a few things that we still need to do. Once we get all of this glued onto here and we do our holes and all that stuff, we want to make sure and go through and clean out the sheath so we can get any debris out. So we're going to want to open it up a little bit, clean that area, and then we could attach everything together. You want to get as much debris out as possible before you start putting your knife in and out of there, because that's what'll start scratching up the finish on your knife. Before I get this put on here, I need to go through and finish this edge, because this edge is not going to be able to be messed with once we get it put on here. So we've got to get that nice and finished up, and I didn't think about that till right now. So it wasn't something I had planned for. So I need to go ahead and get it cleaned up. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, use a couple of these clips, and I'm just going to take it over to the 2x72 with probably a 120 grit belt. So now that I cleaned up that rounded edge and that shape, I made it to where it's perfectly aligned on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and take off the corner here with a little beveling tool. Now we're going to take, this is just 600 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to start just hand sanding this. Alright, now I'm just going to take a little bit of water and we're going to burnish this side right here with our little tool we have here. This is the first time actually using this particular one versus the other ones that I have. It's got this little narrower section right here that I'm going to use. Yeah, I think that works. Man, that's going to look so good on there. So now I'll be able to actually go through, glue up both sides, sit it there, let it kind of cure. Because what we're going to end up doing whenever you follow these instructions right here, you need to brush it on, allow to dry 15 to 20 minutes, and then press firmly together. So we got to apply the barge cement on this, apply it on this, let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to take and overlay this on here, and then I'm going to actually tap it into place with my little hammer right here. So let's go ahead and apply us some cement. Right now there's definitely some people out there that actually know what they're doing that are probably looking at me going, what the hell is this guy doing? Well, I'm experimenting and seeing if this works. I can always make another sheath. It's not that big a deal. Just in my head, this makes sense. Alright, we're going to let that just hang out for a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and put those things together as soon as it's ready. Alright, now that we let these dry for a little bit, we're going to go ahead and try and place this on here as correct as possible. I'm going to lightly put it on here and then slowly work it down. Okay, now what I'm going to do, take it off here, then go through and just take the hammer to it and make sure we mat everything down. So now that we have it all, you know, hammered down, you can see the actual profile that was on the sheath where the knife was. We're good there. I want to go ahead and do clips on this just as an extra little precaution while it's drying. There you go. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap this daily vlog up here. So we've got our leather glued onto there so that it can actually dry overnight. And then we're going to come back and finish this up tomorrow. So in tomorrow's episode, this will be completed. We'll go ahead and do all the extra little couple of things that I'm going to do to it and have a completed leather over Kydex sheath. My first one that I've ever done. I think this is going to turn out really cool. I think it's going to be really successful, and I'm excited about this. I'm really wanting to see how this looks, because if this works how I want it to work, I will be doing more of these in the future. That way I can do both Kydex and leather and hybrid leather Kydex sheaths. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I really do. Because one of the things that I want to end up doing is a holster for my everyday carry firearm that I have. And I like the retention of Kydex, but the look of leather. So if all of this goes how I want it to go, I am going to eventually make a holster that has Kydex with leather over it so that I get the retention and the style. So that'll be a future video. But I'm excited about this. Let's go ahead, end it here. Thank y'all for coming by and watching this daily vlog. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will catch y'all tomorrow.